faculty and guests. We are on time for this next round, so please get yourselves ready. Please find your seats. We will be starting momentarily. Parents in shift number 2, thank you for being on time. Give yourselves a round of applause.
Rabbi, oops, if you help people,
Huh?
if you help the kids,
Yeah.
a little bit lower from the face.
Okay.
One second.
Okay, you ready? It would only be appropriate to give everybody a 30-second warning. So for every you, if you have a stopwatch, you can go ahead and start it. We are beginning in 25 seconds. Shehechiyanu v'kiyamanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh. To be standing here before you on a most momentous occasion, not only of your son's 8th grade graduation, but a graduation under which circumstances have never before been, and Amir Hashem should never again be, I can only say that is nothing short of a miracle that we're here celebrating right now. The Mishnah in Pirkei Avos says that Hayom Katzar v'Hamalacha Meruba, that the day is short, there is much to do. We are in the second part of a 3-part graduation series, limited engagement, again, one time only. So thank you for being here on time. The concept of seizing the day, making this day count amongst all other days that we've had throughout this entire experience comes to mind. And the Latin phrase, 2 words, which is so appropriate to say as I stand here looking out at all of you, carpe diem. We are seizing the day. It was a joke. Okay. I tried. So we are here just to give you a couple of quick public service announcements. You have not yet experienced this graduation, but I can tell you shift number 1 was spectacular, and it is going to continue to be so. Just a couple of quick things. Number 1, parents, we're requesting that you stay in your vehicles. Please refrain from honking or catcalling, making noise that is going to detract from this most special occasion. Of course, clapping is welcome if your windows are opened or your windows are closed. There is definitely much to celebrate. As for the graduates, every year we always have an opportunity of practicing our graduation, practicing walking down, practicing our speeches, leaving, all of the different things, the little minutiae that make a graduation so spectacular, and we've not had a chance to do that. So I just want to remind you of a couple of things. Number 1, inside of the bags that you received, a water bottle, your program, which has the alphabetical order of your class in case you do not remember, and then that face mask. When you're coming out of your cars, we ask you to wear the face mask when you come to sit down in the seats. When you come up to speak, you do not need to be wearing your face mask. And when the photographer takes your picture after you speak and you receive your diploma, make sure to keep that face mask off so we can get a really great picture of you. I'm going to ask you boys to make sure that you're careful when you walk up onto stage. There are 2 stools on either side of the stage, so whichever direction you're coming from, you'll be able to step up without a problem, but take it carefully. The stools sometimes do move. I just want you to take a little extra care. If you do not have your speech with you, there is a speech that is already on the podium for you. Mrs. Berry mentioned that to you. I'm just asking that after you finish speaking, whether you have your speech with you or you're waiting and expecting it to be here for you, please take the copy so that the boy who comes after you is not going to read your speech. Lastly, and most importantly, what makes this entire process run smoothly is there are 2 chairs, one on either side of the stage. The first few boys know when they're supposed to come and sit down. Each of you boys should be anticipating when you should be coming out. If you see a chair empty and you're next in the alphabet, please quietly come out of your cars and sit down in the chairs. If you're not sure, during the first round that we did this, I was successful in trying to get either your parents or your attention by kind of pointing at the car. I don't know, some magical experience, but it did work. So just be mindful of it. We want you sitting here waiting so that the program could run smoothly. With nothing more to say other than how excited I am to be here, I would like to take this great opportunity on behalf of the entire Roar Middle School administration, staff, anyone who's looking on the live stream right now, to cordially welcome, virtually, the graduating class of Tuf Shin Pei 2020. Please direct your eyes to the screens.
אשר תלכי אלך ובאשר תליני אלין כי אל אשר תלכי אל אשר תלכי אלך ובאשר תליני אלין עמך עמי ואלוקייך אלוקי עמך עמי עמך עמי ואלוקייך ואלוקייך אלוקי אשר תלכי אל אשר תלכי אלך ובאשר תליני עלי אל אשר תלכי אל אשר תלכי אלך ובאשר תליני
I'd like to welcome everyone again to the graduation of the graduating class of 2020 Roar Middle School. I first want to recognize the presence of our Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi Nyman, who's representing all the Rosh Yeshiva today, and the Board of Directors. Rabbi Nyman, thank you for being here today. We fully understand how difficult it is to get away. Rabbi Nyman is giving shiurim these days, and I'm so happy that he's joining us here. I'd like to talk a moment about this graduation extravaganza and how it came to be. All the divisions, the middle school, the elementary school, preschool, the high school, were collaborating and discussing how we could possibly bring a inspiring graduation to our Talmidim. And I could say that what you're experiencing here today is the final product of some unbelievable ingenuity, collaboration, discussion. And I want to thank all the divisions for pooling their efforts and ideas and finally coming up with something that we thought would be safe and enjoyable to you. So thank you for everyone for working so well together. I know ordinarily we take the things that people do for us for granted, and I have to admit that sometimes I'm guilty of that myself, but this year I don't think that we can do that. So I'd like to just thank a few people and departments for their role in allowing us to get here. I'm saying this not really for them, I'm saying it for you, for those in their cars, for parents and students, families, friends, for anyone that's watching this. We have a debt of gratitude to the following people. First of all, I want to mention Rabbi Wiener, who, without going into details, he was a combination of Superman and Hercules packed into one. And it was literally unbelievable what he accomplished. So Rabbi Wiener, thank you very much. The graduation, we made our decision on graduation about 2 months ago. That's when Mrs. Goldglen said, I'm getting to work. And she started working on graduation, and every detail of graduation, she's been working day and night for about 2 months. And I'm not talking just about what you see here today and the absolutely touching and inspiring videos that you'll see. I mean the yearbook, the programs, the ideas, the communication, and being in touch with teachers and awards. Every detail of this graduation is credit to Mrs. Goldglanz's ingenuity, creativity, and dedication to our Talmidim. I'd also like to thank another department that we take for granted. We pull off these events now because we know that we have the backing of the most unbelievable campus management, and I want to thank Rabbi Zev Roth and his team for putting together all the behind-the-scenes details and the attendance and the parking and the security and all the things that you cannot possibly do without a well-oiled machine behind you. I want to thank them for that. We also want to thank Mr. Chata, who has taken on the technical piece of this graduation, from sound and music and video, and bringing it to people's homes, cars, radios, and he's such a pleasure to work with. So I want to thank Mr. Chata, and I could say it's not because he's a parent of a graduate. This is just the way he operates. I want to thank him very much. I also want to thank Mr. Isaac and the crew who does anything we ask and is here at all hours of the day and on call. I want to thank them. I want to thank the best IT department in the world that we have here. They literally jump in. They don't wait for us to ask them. They come to us with ideas of how they can improve the educational piece. And in this case, no exception. Thank you to the entire IT department, specifically Avram Eliezer Friedman. I want to thank Mrs. J for just doing anything she could to help our students get through these very hard times on the social, emotional piece, and being involved with all those programs, especially for the beautification of our new graduation square that you're seeing here today. Mrs. J, thank you so much for making this a publicity bliss. As we get to the educational piece, many people do not realize that Mrs. Berry holds down the fort for the educational integrity that we have here at the Roar Middle School. And she works day and night being in touch with the amazing staff that she's assembled. And when Mrs. Berry asked the faculty, I'm talking now about the general studies faculty, if they were able to come to one of the graduations today, and unanimously they all said, we will be here all day. And we have such an amazing faculty here. I want to thank Mrs. Berry and the team for not just assembling the dedication, but the interest and the determination they have to make sure every student is achieving to the best that he can. Thank you, Mrs. Berry. I want to talk now about probably the heart and soul of the yeshiva, our Rebbeim, at the Roar Middle School. I myself, on March 23rd, when I came to the yeshiva and there was nobody here, I have to admit it was like a depressing feeling. What the Rebbeim have done to our yeshiva and continuing the high level of learning is simply miraculous. It's miraculous. And our Rebbeim, I know Rebbeim all over the world have done this, but I'm vouching now for our Rebbeim whose level of concern for every Talmud is just beautiful. It's beautiful to see. And today, the 8th grade Rebbeim are here enjoying the nachas of their Talmidim, and that is very special to us. It was a very special connection that the Rebbeim forged with our Talmidim. And right now, I'd like to call upon one of the 8th grade Rebbeim, Rabbi Goldberger, who's going to represent all the Rebbeim, the 8th grade Rebbeim, and addressing our wonderful Talmidim. I'd like to ask Rabbi Goldberger to please come up.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Palgon. To quote one of my fellow Chashuv Rebbeim, Rabbi Alber, the only reason that I agreed to speak today is so that I should have the opportunity to take off my mask. Please excuse my nervousness. I've never spoken to so many cars before. Bereshus, Rosh Yeshiva Rabbi Neumann, Rabbi Palgon, and the Anhola, fellow faculty, parents, and grandparents who are watching live stream, including my parents, I think, Tati and Mami. And finally, the esteemed, or at this point, just steamed graduates. Dear graduates, I have just one more lesson for you to learn as you move on from middle school, so pay close attention. I will share with you the beauty of what graduation means. Are you the same person who joined RMS 3 years ago? Do you have the same skill set that you had when you entered the 6th grade or the 7th grade or even the 8th grade this year? The legendary Rosh Yeshiva from Yeshiva Torah V'das, Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky, just a few decades ago, was visiting his grandson in a different yeshiva. And before taking leave from him, he gave him a most peculiar gift. He gave him a plant. While his grandson must have received the present with some astonishment, surprise, the great Reb Yaakov pulled him over to the window and told him to set the plant down where the sun can beam on it. Let's watch it together, he told his grandson. After only a minute or two, he turned to his grandson and asked him a funny question. Did you see the plant grow? Of course, the young budding Talmud Chacham answered, no. But then, Reb Yaakov taught him a lesson for a lifetime by asking him the following question. Did the plant in fact grow? This young man could not deny that despite the invisibility and the impossibility of noticing it, that certainly the plant must have grown. Dear Talmidim, while you may not have realized it, we actually did take notice that, wow, these Talmidim have grown. You have grown in your letter writing and grammar abilities. You have the ability to compute complicated math problems, unlike you ever did before. And your knowledge of the history and science of the world is more discerning than it ever was. Your abilities to understand and read a Gemara on your own is greater than ever before. And most importantly, the Torah and Derech Eretz that you have learned has transformed you into a greater servant of Hashem than you have ever been before. So, did you grow? To graduate means to build upon the skills that you have now attained and use them to reach an even higher goal in the future. As I look at each and every one of you in your cards, I see that you are driven, pun intended, towards becoming a greater Talmid Chacham and Torah Jew and Eved Hashem. We are so proud of you, and we are confident that you will continue to give your parents, grandparents, and Hashem tremendous nachas, mazel tov on your graduation.
Thank you, Rabbi Palgon, Mrs. Berry, Rabbi Wiener, Ms. Golan, and the incredible Royal Middle School staff. On behalf of the 8th grade and our families, we would like to thank you for really putting in so much work and time to make this the best possible graduation, even under these unfortunate circumstances. It feels great to finally talk to people in real life without like a big headset on my head or a Zoom call, or it feels great. I'd like to focus for a minute on what exactly you all are witnessing. It may appear like we are just a regular group of 8th graders moving on to high school. True, like hundreds of graduates before us, we have completed 3 years of middle school education, focusing on our learning in the Limudei Kodesh and general studies. We have taken many Gemara tests, written countless essays, solved many math equations, explored the insides of plants and cells, the list goes on. Yet we managed to still have fun along the way. We've done science experiments, general knowledge, break rooms, and more. But we are moving on with so much more than just knowledge and activities. As you know, during the last 3 months of our middle school experience, Hashem presented us with the unexpected challenge that seemed impossible, the coronavirus. We each had a choice about how we would face and conquer this challenge. There is not one of us who has not grown or learned to conquer this challenge. Our graduation would not be complete if we left today without sharing our insights with you. So I stand here today, honored to introduce a third of the Royal Middle School class of 2020 who would like to share their personal feelings and reflections on how they have grown spiritually during this period of quarantine and distance learning. I will begin with my own reflection.
Binyamin Fish.
I've taken many lessons from the coronavirus outbreak, but what I learned to appreciate most is the value of life. People think life lasts forever, but this virus is our wake-up call that it doesn't. Lives are being taken away every day, and nothing is normal anymore. This virus helped reality hit us square in the face and tell us it doesn't last forever. It is here to teach us not to forget or take for granted what we have. Hashem put us here to do Torah and mitzvos, interact and build a legacy, not only for our sake, but for the sake of the future generations to come. We must wake up and take action, because no matter how long life is, it doesn't last forever.
Ben Gibber.
20, 30, or even 100 years, when this worldwide pandemic is over, and it's just another memory of a peculiar time, what experience will we still have with us that will have stuck with us for the duration of our lives? What lesson will we take out of this incongruent time? For everyone, it's something different. But for me, I think that we need to think about what Hashem is really trying to tell us. That in a world of fancy cars, immense houses, and extravagant bar mitzvahs and weddings, it's time to take it down a notch. It's time to think about what is really important. How can you help someone else and lift their spirits? What can you do to become a better, nicer, and more caring person? In what way can you change the world and make it a better place? As Steve Jobs said, those who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones that do.
Avraham Goldenberg.
Since we are all in our homes without any way of davening with a minyan or learning in base medrash or kollel, I learned to appreciate all the things that we are missing now during the COVID-19 virus pandemic. I learned to appreciate the kollel in which I can learn without all the distractions and noise, which makes it harder for me to learn. I also learned to appreciate the minyanim that we are missing out on, which firstly enables us to daven with a minyan, and secondly helps me with my concentration. Before the virus, everything was normal. Now, at this time, we can see how good and easy everything was before the virus, and that everything that we thought was normal is really a gift. If we think about this fact, every time we wake up, every time we go to school, every time we eat a juicy fruit, we can appreciate all the good that Hashem does for us and be inspired to do the right thing.
Gershon Goldenberg.
I learned a lot from the coronavirus pandemic. One lesson I learned is that Hashem runs the world. We all know that our Purim shtick was played out by Hashem. Certainly, this global virus has also been directed by Hashem. Although these difficult times seem challenging, in the future we will look back and see that we grew tremendously. One positive outcome from this situation is that we will learn to responsibly use technology to make distance learning possible in both secular and Judaic studies. It is so clear that everything that happens is for the best. We will eventually begin to realize Hashem's master plan as it plays out in our daily existence.
Shlomo Goldenberg.
Over these long 2 months of no minyan or school, I began really to understand what we are missing during these challenging times. I began to appreciate everything we take for granted in normal life. Now that things are slowly coming back, I genuinely hope that I will never forget what it was like to be missing all of these things. Whether it's minyan or it's our classroom, I hope to always thank Hashem for all the great things He gives us every single day. My outlook on Corona is that Hashem is trying to send everyone a wake-up call to change. Each person takes it his own way and gains from it.
Eitan Goldsmith.
The coronavirus pandemic we are experiencing has caused the world to change in tremendous ways. Most people alive today have never experienced anything like this before. We are all completely foreign to the idea of being quarantined at home and having school, weddings, bar mitzvahs, and other events on Zoom. However, I am sure that each person has something positive they can learn from this situation. Each one of us has grown and connected to Hashem in our own way. I've personally learned that we can't take our life and our time for granted. We must appreciate every minute Hashem gives us here and always use our time wisely. Hashem is teaching us how much we have to appreciate each day and utilize every moment of life we are given. Every breath we take is a bracha, and I'm grateful for this important lesson I've learned over the past few months.
David Hachman.
This period of the coronavirus pandemic made me realize and appreciate several things. I realized how much I miss my friends. I don't get to see them around in real life anymore. I also realized how much I miss school. I really appreciate all the things that school has done for me all these years. Learning over the computer is not the same as being in school. I also really miss going to shul. It has really made me appreciate davening with the minyan. I really hope we can return together soon.
Ariel Ayofi.
There are many Torah values I have learned from the coronavirus pandemic. One of the Torah values I have learned is that we should look at the world from Hashem's point of view. Since the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash, Hashem felt like he lost something very dear to him. When the virus came and our shuls closed, Hashem wanted us to feel like he has felt for thousands of years. Another lesson I have learned is that this is a test of patience. When will we get angry? When will we get depressed? Also, I now realize that we should appreciate what we have before we lose it. We used to have many things we took for granted. We had everything, restaurants, shuls, and schools, and now we only have Zoom. We can focus on thinking about when this pandemic will be over, or we can look at the big picture and ask when will this galus be over. If we are wondering what Hashem wants us to take away from this experience, I would say that He is hoping we'll not remember these times as boring, useless, and annoying, but rather we look back at these times for an opportunity of growth and appreciation.
Zachary Zagayov.
With the outbreak of the coronavirus, my life has changed dramatically. I'm grateful for having my family because we help each other with anything we need. I learned that Hashem gave me a special family. They get me motivated to learn Torah every day. I like to thank the teachers who have taught me while I'm sitting at home. I never thought I'd be saying this, but I miss going to school. I miss waking up early to see my friends and my rebbes. It's fun to sit at home, but I'd much rather be in school.
Sam Kaplan.
The positive spiritual lessons that I learned from this whole corona pandemic are to stay positive, to value life, and to daven sincerely to Hashem. I think that davening to Hashem is a very important lesson to learn at this time because Hashem is the only one that can do anything about a situation. I also understand that the value of life is really important and that life is not forever. There's an old saying that goes, man makes plans and God laughs. This saying shows that nothing is under our control. Anything is possible. The lessons I have learned show me that I can stay positive because I know that everything is up to Hashem. These lessons are very important to me in this time of quarantine, and I hope that the quarantine ends soon.
David Kaskas.
The most essential spiritual lesson that I learned from the coronavirus is how valuable friends and family truly are to me.
Because I am unable to see my friends as much as before, I appreciate them now more than ever. My friends have elevated my spirits and helped me to stay strong during this challenging time. One way they have helped me is to motivate me to wake up on time to attend shul regularly. I am also working on learning Torah with more energy.
David Lax.
The coronavirus has impacted my life in a spiritual way. When I hear of all the tragic things that are happening to people, it helps me realize that I can't take life for granted. I can be in the same position as anyone else and my life can change in an instant. Additionally, the coronavirus helped me to appreciate my family more. There are people who are losing family members, and I'm thankful to Hashem that my family is healthy and safe. The coronavirus boosted my emunah in Hashem. Ultimately, it is all up to Him, and we have no control over what happens in our lives. All that we can do is daven and pray that nothing will happen to us and our families.
Moshe Lambert.
A spiritual lesson that I took from this corona outbreak is not to speak badly about other people. The reason is because when the Beis HaMikdash was still around, anybody who talked Lashon Hara got leprosy and went into isolation away from everybody. Not even their families could be with them. During this pandemic, it's the same thing. We have leprosy, which is corona, and we have to go into quarantine. So what I have to say to everyone is this is a sign from Hashem not to speak Lashon Hara, not just now, not ever.
Chaim Lapchik.
The coronavirus has impacted us all in our own way. In one way or another, we have all grown. The coronavirus proves that nothing is for certain, and our lives can change in a matter of weeks. The question is, how do we choose to look at the situation? I have heard many people complaining about online school as if it was the worst thing to ever happen to them. True, we wish the coronavirus would disappear. People are losing a lot of money, our economy is crashing, and some people may have even lost their jobs. I prefer to look at what's happening in a positive way. Despite the coronavirus, we still have our amazing staff and teachers looking out for us. I feel inspired by Klal Yisrael. While the whole world is in lockdown, we continue learning Torah and serving Hashem. These are challenging times, but I know Hashem is always watching out for us.
Don Leonoff.
With this unpredictable virus, COVID-19, we have to adapt to a new reality. Since we can't really go out, we have to dig deep into ourselves and bring out our potential. One area in which I've grown tremendously is in my midos. A specific midah I'm working on is patience. Patience with my siblings, patience with my Wi-Fi connection, and patience in general. Another Torah value I learned is that we have to daven to Hashem privately just like we daven to Him publicly. He is testing us. Are we following His mitzvos because He asked us to, or are we just giving in to peer pressure? May we all be zocha to improve in our midos and Torah values.
Shalom Levy.
I've learned a lot over these hard days in isolation. I've learned how to be more helpful around the house by taking on more chores. I actually learned how to truly embrace these challenging times. I have to admit this, but I shouldn't have taken school for granted, because I really miss it. This time has also taught me that if you think and stay positive, any challenge could be seen as an opportunity. The most important thing this pandemic has taught me is that we should be grateful that we don't have to endure the many sufferings we have seen across the world. I would like to thank my parents for helping me through this difficult time, and all of my classmates for making their way through these hard days. Please know that Hashem is with us, and we are here for each other no matter what.
Aaron Lieberman.
If there's one thing I learned from this whole coronavirus experience, is to never take anything for granted. Before this virus, I didn't think going to school and laughing with my teachers and rabbeim was such a big deal. I didn't think seeing my friends on a normal basis was such a big deal. I took normal, everyday things for granted. But while being hunkered down in my house for these past few months, I realized how lucky we are to have these things that seem so normal to us. For example, every year my family spends Pesach with my father's side of the family from Chicago and New York. We were especially excited this year because we were all meant to spend Pesach here in Miami. In the end, everyone had to cancel their plans and spend Pesach in their own homes. This was the first Pesach my family spent without seeing my cousins. Another part of my life I took for granted was being able to daven with a minyan. Before this virus, I thought it was just a hassle. Since the opportunity was taken away, I realized how much of a bracha it really is. So one thing I took out from this whole coronavirus experience is to never, ever take anything for granted.
Boys, that was quite excellent. Not only the timing, but also the words that you shared with us. But I've got a special surprise for you, for your parents, any of your relatives that are live streaming this event right now. And I'd like to ask the Rabbeim and teachers if you would like to go ahead and watch along with us on the multimedia presentation that is about to be shown. You're welcome to find a place out in the sun, hopefully not too sunny. So if you want to find a place right now, boys, what you're about to see is a collective work of thoughts, words, and phrases that your teachers and Rabbeim have been thinking and know and believe that each of you are. You might not have been here for 3.5 months, but you are very, very much on their minds. The slides may go a little bit faster than you'd like, but the good news is, inside of your yearbook, every single slide, every word and every phrase will be there for posterity to look out time and time again. This is what your teachers and your Rabbeim think of you. Greatness revealed.
Take a drive down the highway of life. Give me 5, my friend. Here we are. We're together again and remembering when we met. All the games, all the jokes that we laughed at, the pain that we shared, and we knew that no matter what came, our bond would remain the same. I can travel down any road, 'cause I know that I'm not alone. I've got my friends and their loyalty. I've got my friends who always see the best in me. I've got my friends every step of the way. My friends have helped to shape the man I am today. Oh, 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 oh. Sachim Atov Manoim. I can travel down any road, 'cause I know that I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I've got my friends and their loyalty. I've got my friends who always see the best in me. I've got my friends every step of the way. My friends have helped to shape the man I am today. I'm up and down the mountain, I'm not afraid. I'm hanging with my friends, I know they're with me all the way. I know they're with me all the way. I know they're with me all the way. I know they're here with me to stay. I've got my friends on the sunny days. I've got my friends in the thunderstorms and pouring rain. And when I see them, I know I'm okay. My friends have helped to shape the man I am today. I've got my friends, I've got my friends. I've got my friends, I've got my friends. I've got my friends. Take a drive down the highway of life. Give me 5, my friend. Here we are. We're together again and remembering when we met. All the games, all the jokes that we laughed at, the pain that we shared, and we knew that no matter what came, our bond would remain the same. I can travel down any road, 'cause I know that I'm not alone. I've got my friends and their loyalty. I've got my friends who always see the best in me. I've got my friends every step of the way. My friends have helped to shape the man I am today. All the years, all the good and the bad, you were there, my friends. And the times when I stumbled and fell, you would help me get up again. And the smiles that the memories bring keep me going through everything. There's a song that together we...
Thank you, thank you. I want to thank all of our BAM faculty members, administration, and especially Mrs. Goldglantz for taking this idea and bringing it to the highest level possible. I do not remember being more inspired seeing a video presentation at a graduation. It is so hard to put into words how proud we all are of you at this very moment. I'm speaking to our graduates. This is such a bittersweet moment for us as we spend the last days distant yet together here at the Rohr Middle School. You've been an exceptional class since you arrived here in 6th grade. Your class has bonded together as a unit and has raised the level of Limud Torah in so many ways. This year, each of you have also taken on the project of studying the life and accomplishments of a gadol, focusing on a particular gadol's accomplishments and ways in which you could emulate them. I would like to share with you a most unbelievable moment about the Chacham Rav Ovadia Yosef. Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, was coming to discuss a matter with the Chacham Rav Ovadia Yosef. He was ushered into the Rav's study along with his entourage and the media crew covering this visit. At the time, Rav Ovadia Yosef was studying Hilchos Challah. He was looking at the different mefarshim, scouring his memory to recall everything in his vast knowledge of Shas. The Prime Minister Netanyahu was awed by the Rav's complete immersion in learning, and he was shocked that the hullabaloo of the camera crews jockeying for best positions hadn't caused the Rav to lift his eyes from the Sefer, not for a split second. After a few moments or minutes, the Minister of Internal Affairs, Mr. Eli Yishai, who had arranged the visit, told Mr. Netanyahu that he would inform the Rav that the Prime Minister had arrived. No, no, Mr. Netanyahu said. He waved him off. I never get to see anything like this. So by now, the cameramen, the camera crew was also enthralled by the sight. And they started snapping pictures and photos of Rav Ovadia Yosef, totally engrossed in the Sefer. And Mr. Netanyahu continued watching in fascination, wondering how long it would take the Rav to notice the dozens and dozens of people in the room. Finally, after a long while, Rav Moshe Yosef, his son, explained that if no one interrupted Rav Ovadia Yosef, the Prime Minister would be waiting there all day. At that point, Rav Moshe crouched down next to his father and said, Abba, Rosh HaMemshala po. The head of the Israel state is here. At that moment, Rav Ovadia Yosef looked up in surprise and he said, Baruch haba, Baruch haba. He did not notice until he was told and interrupted. I look back at the last couple of months. That was an unbelievable story about one of our great Gedolim. But I think the accomplishments of our Talmidim here in the yeshiva is nothing short of spectacular. With all the excuses and distractions not to learn, I could say that Rabbi Wiener and I had the best seats in the entire stadium, going from classroom to classroom, watching you boys learn with such dedication. We are proud of you for the Torah you have learned, the tefillas you've davened, and the relationships you have forged with your rebbeim, teachers, and chaverim. We are proud of you for understanding the greatness you have already shown and the tremendous potential that each of you are all bound to achieve. We think that the lessons that you learned the last couple of months probably far surpassed any group of 8th graders that ever have graduated from the Roar Middle School. We hope that the inspiration you received will remind you that our wish is to continue to grow to become intelligent and inspired B'nai Torah, and that we all merit to see the greatness catch and remain on fire in each and every one of you. On behalf of all the Rosh Yeshiva, Board of Directors, Rebbeim, faculty, and staff, I'd like to wish each of you a happy and healthy life filled with all the blessings that Hashem has in store for those who study and show honor to the Torah. You have made us very, very proud. Mazel tov upon this morning's significant milestone.
As with all graduations, there is just one small detail that has not yet been accomplished, which we're about to embark upon, and that is to bid a farewell to our 8th grade students who now have their diplomas and will shortly be given a grad bag, yes, G-R-A-D, bag full of your diplomas, pictures, gifts, and other things that the faculty, staff, and parents want for you boys to enjoy. But prior to that farewell, as you head from 8th grade to your high school career, thank you. The bags are going to be placed on your passenger mirrors at the conclusion of our final farewell as we bid our 8th grade class of Tufshin Pei 2020 a farewell as they head to their careers in high school and beyond. Please take a look at the screens. Mazel Tov, 8th grade graduating class, Tufshin Pei 2020. Your grad bags are being passed out to you as we speak. We have 2 exit strategies for those of you who would like to leave immediately. In a moment, you are going to head to your right towards the security guard. He will help you exit to 163rd Street. For those of you who would like to stay for an optional photo opportunity, you'll head to the left. Mr. Benji Silverstein, who is holding the umbrella wearing the fluorescent vest, will direct you. At this point, the commencement exercises for shift number 2 will conclude. We're going to ask each car in order to start pulling out so we can prepare for our last shift. Mazel Tov again, and you are more than welcome to join us on the live stream for the last part of this monumental graduation. Mazel Tov, parents, and thank you so much for coming.